Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylist podcast. I'm Emma Morton-Turner and you're listening to episode 31, what House Beautiful magazine is really looking for in real homes features with homes and interiors editor Alison Davidson. So you'll hear in this episode that Alison and I have known each other for quite a while. I actually assisted on one of my very first shoots with Alison and she taught me the best lesson I've ever known, the best lesson I was ever taught. And we talk about that, we talk about how she got started, and she started in fashion. I had no idea. And then we get onto the nitty gritty of what House Beautiful was looking for in real homes and also makeovers as well. So if you're looking to get into that or want to get more houses featured, have a listen. And I hope you enjoy it. Today's guest, I have known for quite a long time. She's worked freelance, she's worked on magazines, she can do absolutely anything when it comes to styling. Right now she's on House Beautiful and she's looking after the houses and the interiors. You're the houses and interiors editor. Today's guest is Alison Davidson.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. Oh, I say thank you for joining me. Thank you for letting me come and join you.
In our fab offices.
In your fantastic
in
offices.
Square.
I'm going to paint a picture. So I didn't realise that Hurst had moved to such a central location. I came round the corner of Leicester Square and then we've just come upstairs and we're literally looking over Leicester Square. There's a red carpet being rolled out for, we think, Bradley Cooper. We're hoping Bradley Cooper.
A Star is Born.
Exactly.
We'll be hanging out the windows later, watching that.
Amazing, it's all big glass building, it's beautiful.
It is.
Of course, upstairs is probably not where you work, it's probably just piles of magazines and lookbooks and stuff.
Well,
yeah,
no,
not quite
well
so
it's
pretty.
not, because we're not allowed to do that. It's all a clear desk policy.
Oh, really?
Yes, and hot desk,
I was gonna say,
which of course everybody's doing.
Yeah.
It's the way to go.
I would be rubbish at that. I'd probably have to bring my dolly trolley with me everywhere I went. I'm just checking that was recording. So we've known each other.
Well,
I'm
it
not
goes
going
back.
to say how many years. I've
No.
given up saying that because it makes me sound old every time. But do you remember when we met?
Yes, it was at Homes and Ideas
It
magazine,
was, yes.
which is no more.
No.
But it was a great mag, actually.
Yeah, it was
great little
really
mag,
good.
and it was part of. It wasn't IPC Media at the time, was it?
Yeah,
Reed,
it was.
it?
It was kind of like a feeder into. You kind of bought that before you moved on to Ideal Homes, like your first-time
Right.
buyers, lots
Yeah.
of DIY, lots of craft. Yeah.
And I used to do big decorating features
Yes.
for them and the covers generally.
Yes.
And it was great. It was really nice to work on. Met some really nice people, including Emma.
Yes, I was. I did work experience, and then I kind of had to do a couple of weeks as a trial, and then I got my first job on Homes and Ideas. And one of the first big shoots I went on was one of your cover shoots.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So I quite often say I have an Alison story. I'm going to share my Alison story. So on that shoot, you taught me the best lesson anyone has ever taught me about styling.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you
don't think
before.
you have.
Okay, we're talking quite a long time ago, guys. We've known each other for a very long time, so it's amazing I haven't said this to you before. But we were at Lucy Searle's house, and
right.
we'd literally removed everything from her living room, and you'd brought all your props in and styled it all up. We had models coming in. Do you remember we used to have models turn up, and you were like, "Who are you?" Because they just looked like anyone off the street. And they had hair and makeup.
Because they had to be real.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was kind of running around doing all the teas and coffees and stuff. And then when it was all set up, the editor arrived and she walked in and she started moving stuff around and saying, "No, I don't like that," and move that. And she was quite sharp and quite direct. And I was like watching going, "Oh my God, I'd be so upset if she said that to me. I'd be really like hurt that she said my work wasn't good." And I said to you, "God, how do you deal with that? That's really hard." And you said, "It's not personal, it's just work. It's just that in her head she's seen something different. She's not saying I'm no good at my job." And I was like, "Oh, right." And that has stuck with me from the very beginning.
Oh
so
my
now,
God, I don't remember ever being that
yeah,
confident.
and through many situations where I've been told that a shoot wasn't quite what the editor had liked and wanted to go out crying, I just thought, you know what, that rose just wasn't in the right place. That's all it is, it's just not what she thought. So thank you for that.
Oh, blimey, I can't believe I've helped someone. Thank God for that.
And I have then imparted my wisdom from you onto everybody I can. So how did you get started in magazines?
Well, the funny thing was, I'd been working for 15 years, actually, because I started work quite young. I didn't go to university because I messed up school. I don't know why, I don't know really what happened. It's so long ago, I can't really remember. But so I had loads of different jobs, never really felt like I fitted into any of them. But I was good with people, so I could always get through. And then I was working for Imperial Cancer Research Fund as a shops organiser. And we organised a big event, a big fashion show actually, with the London Institute, which is the London Institute. I'm not sure if it still is, I think it's a different thing now, but it was London College of Fashion, Chelsea, I think. No, not Canterbury. St Martin's, London College of Printing, Camberwell. It was all part of the same London Institute, and there was a woman heading it. Anyway, I got involved in organising fashion because I was the youngest member of the team. So they said, oh, can you go and choose all this stuff from these charity shops to put this fashion show on? So it was great fun. So I did all that. So I was quite closely involved with the head of the institute. And she said, oh, have you ever thought about doing this for a living? And I thought, what? Me?
Yeah.
How?
Is this a job?
Is this a job? Yeah. And I thought, no. And then I kind of looked into it, and I went to all the shows, all the degree shows, and got very excited about it all. And it was a light bulb moment. I'm sitting in one of the rows at one of the fashion shows. I think it was probably St Martin's. And I just thought, oh, wow, you can do this as a job. I really want to do this. So I went a bit mad. I handed in my notice. I got a place at college, as it was then, London College of Fashion, and it was a 2-year course because that was before it became a degree course of 4 years. But I could only really spare 2 years because I was 30 by then, or 29, I think, whatever. So anyway, I gave up my company car and my salary and all the rest of it, and I was married at the time, so my husband said, yes, if you really want to do it, do it. So I did, and I went back to college 2 years, and I worked so hard. I worked every Saturday in a shop just to earn some money. I worked every holiday, every time we had a break from college, I worked to bring it to keep the money going. So I had a mortgage and the whole deal. Anyway, got through the 2 years, and I won Student of the Year.
Wow.
So, bear in mind, I was so much older than all the others. They used to come to me and say, I need to open a bank account. Actually, I do. Okay. But it's a really great experience, and it was full on 2 years, but I loved it, absolutely loved it. So I came out of that, and because I'd been doing internships, or they weren't really internships then, they were more work experience because it was a much shorter period, with loads of different places, and a lot of it was on this magazine called Living, which it doesn't exist anymore. But so anyway, I went in to work for them, and I was doing their fashion for a bit, and then their deputy home editor left, and they said, would I stand in? And I thought, yeah, because I need a job. So I stood in, and they offered me the job like a month later. So that's where it all started. So I did fashion for a very short time. I loved it, it was great, but it's very much a young person's game. And if you don't know me, I'm very down to earth, and I found it all a bit too poncy, really. Yeah. So home suited me down to the ground. So I worked there for 5 years, had 2 children in the meantime, and then the magazine folded while I was on maternity leave with my second daughter. So,
gosh, that's a very common thread.
Yes. So I thought, well, what do I do? And my plan was always to go freelance. So I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll go freelance, and that was fine. I had plenty of work, and it was all really good. And then a bomb landed in my life when my husband left me with 2 quite small children. So I then thought, what do I do? What do I do generally? But I thought, I'll carry on freelancing because it meant I could be at home with the girls more and be around. In hindsight, I probably should have gone back into a full-time job because I've always been broke since then, really. It's been really hard to make much money. But anyway, la-di-da.
You would have just had kid fees on top of it, wouldn't you? I think it's quite a close call.
Yeah, true. True. Anyway, I kept my hand in, which is the main thing. So I freelanced, and I was busy, thank God. I did have a lot of work. But obviously with freelancing work, it's very up and down, and you have very long dry patches, or you have time when you're really, really busy and you're working all night, put the kids to bed, carry on working, all that kind of thing. But I kept going because I'm still here. So anyway, and then that kind of continued. And then Emma comes back into this story because she was working at Woman and Home for Sue James, and she wanted to leave and to look after her children, so she put me forward for the job. And
because at the time, I gave 3 months notice, and they didn't have anyone lined up. They weren't interviewing during that 3 months time, so they were saying, can you give me some names of people who can come and cover while we look? And that's where you came in.
So I went in and I thought, okay, I'll do this for a bit, but then I made it quite clear that I wanted a full-time job. Were
you aware of what the magazine was about? Was it quite a good move for you to go and work in that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I was without being showing off, I think I was spot on. I was the right age.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
was all And it was the right level. I got the job. And I was there for 6 years.
I know, I can't believe that.
I know.
Because I've been
fantastic.
freelance 8 years now. So it's insane, isn't it? How it goes really fast.
I know.
So you've been in-house and freelance. And
yeah.
I think you've always quite often said that you prefer to be in-house.
Yeah, I'm a real people person. And when I'm on my own too much, I get really miserable.
Yes.
But when I was at home, when I was really, really busy, it was fine. And of course the kids were coming home from school and I had au pairs and all that kind of thing. So it was always quite busy. And if you're out shooting, you're not at home that much. So that was fine. But then when the work does dry up and you're at home looking out the window, waiting for an email to come in, an email I'm talking about, an email, then I just got very, very down.
It's very insular. Yeah, I've got a podcast lined up talking about how insular and how lonely it can be working from home.
Yeah, but I think that's the same with any industry.
Yeah,
I think you work on your own then. So it didn't suit me. And I love being here, back on a mag. I'm with a fantastic team. We all know each other because I'm in the hub. So people like Ben Kendrick, who's been here for 20 years, Carolyn Bailey, who's been here for about 8 years for the second time around.
Because she was home editor on Woman Home as well.
I know.
I was still getting posts for her when I left.
And she's upstairs now.
Yeah.
So, it's a really, really nice team here, and all the youngsters are really great, and they say, we're going to see a film, do you want to come? Oh, yeah. So we have a really good social life here, which is nice
good.
as well.
So what would you say has been the highlight of your career so far? Woman in Home, having someone lovely put you forward for Woman in Home.
That was the to be honest, this is no joke, it changed my life.
Really?
It really did. Because I was back in a magazine, doing something, realising I am quite good at this, because when you're freelancing, you're on your own at home, you think, I can't do this anymore.
You don't really get feedback, do you? On a magazine, you get feedback on the shoot you've just done, but when it's freelance, you hand it in, you move on, you send your invoice, you're done. You don't really
and as long as you don't get anything back, you think, that's okay then, it must be all right. So it did change my life. That's without a word of a lie. So, and I wouldn't have got this job without that job.
No, it's funny how that happens.
I don't think I
No,
would.
it's that whole right place, right time, right experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely believe that's how it works.
So these two, Woman Home and here have been, that has been the highlight of my career, and if I can keep this going for as long as possible, I should be very happy. And to be honest, when it comes to an end, I don't know what I'll do with myself, because
something else will materialise that you haven't even thought of now. That's always what happens.
Astronaut.
So that's highlights, but what about disasters?
Oh, how many? I mean, bear in mind how long I've been doing it.
You don't even remember this. Well, I think you remember that story I was saying at the very beginning.
I don't remember that.
Not nasty, just comes across as nasty, but it's on shoots, people talk very directly to each other because you're in a rush and you haven't got time to mess around. And being inexperienced, I didn't realise that was what it was. But that would have been a disaster day for me if I was you. So. Yeah.
Now, there's two occasions that kind of spring to mind. One was when I was working for this funny company called Old Charm Furniture. I'm sure they're still going, but anyways, I was doing the styling for them, and it's really funny kind of, sounds bad,
it's like Nobelian.
Sort of old-fashioned Tudor type,
Tudor,
that kind of fake Tudor.
Heavy,
dark, big dressers you had to fill with props. All of you stylists will know, if you've got a dresser, it's like the idea of hell, because you have to fill it with stuff. Anyway, I was on this shoot and it was all fine. I set it all up, I was ready, it was good. And there was a PR there, who I won't mention, and she came in and just moved everything without knowing what she was doing. She was a PR, not a stylist. And then saw that it was a complete dog's dinner and turned to me and said, put that right.
Really?
After I'd spent...
Had she looked through the camera?
No.
She just walked in?
No.
That's the thing, people don't realise how different it looks through the camera to how it looks to the eye.
I think she was actually just trying to show off to the client, to be
being
honest.
Part of it.
But the sad thing was the PR company lost that client. So it was a really bad, but that was, I coped with it. Well, I sort of coped with it. I did go into the loo and cry, but there was a lot going on in my life at the time as well. So that was one, and there was another one where I set up a house shoot in Watmont-Thames, and I'd got Simon Whitmore to come down, so I used to work with him quite a lot, and he came down from Leicester with an assistant. It was all set up, I'd got my food, I'd got my flowers, got the whole thing. Walked in and the couple were in the midst of splitting up, which was really sad.
And did you know that before?
I don't think I did. Do you know what? I don't know, I can't remember. But anyway, we got there, I unloaded, put my flowers in the sinks, all the rest of it, and the husband came in and said, you're not doing this. And I did my utmost to try and talk it round, because we spent money to get there, it was a day's work. And it's making me all
Were you freelance?
nervous. Yeah, freelance. It's making me all nervous even thinking about it. And this poor woman was distraught. And she burst into tears and said, "Oh, please don't do this, please don't." And I'm saying, "Please don't do this," in a nice way.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't having it. So we had to leave.
Oh no.
And that was it, really.
Yeah, these are the unseen things that you cannot plan for.
No, you can't plan that. I felt so sorry for her.
Poor woman. Yeah.
So that was horrible.
Yeah.
And having been through a divorce myself,
so you can
knew how she was feeling. So.
And had you been commissioned, or were you shooting on spec?
No, we were shooting on spec. So
there's your silver lining.
Well, yeah.
That can you imagine if you had that all was lined up and there was a deadline and then you needed it in 3 days' time and stuff?
Imagine going back to Sue and telling her that.
No, I'm not going to think about that.
Yeah, that's what
So what we wanted to talk about today, because you're the home and interiors editor.
Yeah, it's
on
kind
House
of
Beautiful.
it's just like what it means is if they want to move me into another area or do something else, it just covers the whole thing.
But if someone's doing has a real home or a makeover, you're the person to send it into.
Basically what I cover are all the real homes, all the makeovers, the supplements, which are really important.
I didn't know you did that. That's good.
They're very closely watched by the marketing team because it makes a hell of a difference to sales.
I'm sure.
So I look after those, and I look after bathroom news, kitchen news, and a feature called Spotlight On, which can be on bedrooms or it could be on fireplaces.
Yeah.
And they're generally big, full-page pictures of really beautiful shots. So it's quite a lot. I do quite a lot of the mag. I mean, obviously most of it is freelanced out.
Yeah, but it's the commissioning side of it.
Yeah, and I have to pull it all together and make sure it's right and choose the right people.
Yeah. So how many makeovers and how many houses do you have in each issue?
We have 4 houses each issue. So there's 3 new ones, if you like, first rights ones or all rights, and a reuse. So the reuse one generally comes...
Is that budget-wise? Is that why is that a intentional thing, or just because
it's not really budget? It's to do with reuse is the big thing. We've just got to be seen to be doing it. So, but the only person who's really shooting houses is Ben on Country Living. So they've either been in Country Living or Modern Rustic, which is one of their brand extensions, which is gorgeous. Big like bookazine, they call them. Fabulous. Mad word, but anyway. So they generally come from there. So I have to kind of make sure the mix is right, and they all have to be at different parts of the country. We can't have too many London ones because people get fed up with that. Yeah. So it's 4 of those, and the makeovers, there's always, generally there's 3. In the summer we have garden makeovers as well, but everything's changing at the moment because we've got a new editor. She's been here for probably only really about 2 months because she was on Country Living before, so although she was here, she wasn't really working with us. So things that she's changing.
Had effect on aren't going to come through till
and we're still
December issue.
And we're still discussing it. To be honest, had a massive meeting yesterday about it. So we may go down to just 2 makeovers, just bathrooms and kitchens, because that's really what people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because it's quite interesting that you've still been doing bedrooms. But
but I don't get that many
bedrooms.
No, I don't get that many come through to
me. Bedrooms you can have.
I'm doing mine at the moment.
I've always got them on the back burner.
So I don't know. I think there's talk about dropping them, but again, I don't really know how that's going to work out at the moment. And the bathroom news and kitchen news might be merged in with that. It's all a movable feast at the moment.
It's good though, because you have to keep on your toes. Magazines need to be keep on
absolutely.
Looking at what they're doing and keeping it happy and
also, as you were saying about all the influencers and the bloggers, it's made a big difference. You can't ignore that. You can't keep...
that's what I was going to ask, because how do you because when Right, so I'm just going to say, when I left Woman in Home, a lot of it was because I hated finding houses. I found it the most stressful thing, because Sue James was the editor, and I would have to show her maybe 10 houses to get one yes, and I found it more and more difficult. And to find them, I hated doing it, so it was another thing I left till the last minute, which was the worst way of doing it. I tried so hard to get theatres to do it for me, so I wouldn't have to do it. But it's that whole finding houses in different places. They can't have been seen anywhere before. And now with Instagram, people shoot pictures of their houses. So how do you see that as a magazine? How do you deal with that? If someone is a big, just Joe blogs, she's a lawyer or something, but she loves her house and takes lots of pictures of her house, and they're on Instagram, so people have seen them. But her house is perfect for the magazine. How does that work? Would you use that?
We would, but it hasn't happened so far. I think what happens is a lot of bloggers, maybe not influencers, a lot of bloggers their houses probably aren't up to scratch. You might be able to get, and that sounds really awful, I don't mean that in a negative way, but they probably haven't got a whole house worth.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just the rooms that you see.
Yeah, they might have a really nice sitting room, might have a really nice bedroom, but they may not have the whole thing.
Yeah, the kitchen isn't right, and it has to have a kitchen.
And that's the thing, with any of the house features, every room has to be smart.
And you have to show living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom,
we have to show
bedroom.
all of the main rooms. We have to have at least one of the main rooms. If there's a guest room as well, fine. If there's an ensuite, fine. But yeah, you have to have all of the main rooms. So if they're not all fantastic, it's not going to go in.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are some coming through, I think. And of course, the thing with Instagram as well, you're looking at a square.
Yes, you're right.
As we all know.
Snippet.
And what's the rest of that room like? You know, it's does it stand up to a full page image or even a quarter page image? So I'm sure it will happen.
I'm thinking of the people who do the revamping their rooms all the time, but they like to hold them back before they reveal it. But they won't even show you a snippet until it's done, and it's that whole. But if I show you my whole house, I won't have any Instagram fodder. Yeah. So I think that probably makes the kind of interiors influences maybe hold back a little. It's just quite interesting. I think other magazines use quite a lot of. I think stylists find houses to shoot via Instagram. But again, that doesn't. For you.
Again, that doesn't always work. I mean, I have had a couple come to me that way, but it's never come to anything. I'm not sure why. Whether it's the people don't want to do it, or I don't know. It hasn't. To be honest, it hasn't really.
That's really interesting because I thought that was going to be a really big part of how
it may be.
Houses.
Yeah, it may be, but right now it's not. I still get most of my houses from the same people. I've always got my houses from.
Really? And
so they're kind of photographers and stylists, or photographers and writers, and they send them in and say, what about this? What about that? You know, and you either say yes or no, or.
Do you have the final decision?
No, the editor has a final decision. So I kind of sift through them first, and then I have a meeting with the editor and she chooses them. And it keeps changing as well.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it should be, otherwise it will just be the same houses all the time.
Exactly. So what we're looking for at the moment we're going much more urban. Apparently there's this big shift, we're hearing a lot about it, I'm sure you know this, that people are apparently moving back into the cities and regenerating the cities because it's changing with the high street, all that kind of thing. I don't know, it might all be marketing talk.
I've not heard that, that's interesting.
There's quite a force behind it. So we're trying to go more urban, not younger necessarily, because obviously youngsters tend to rent, but then we could feature.
That was in the news actually yesterday, that or was it this morning, that renters are the highest they've ever been.
It's something like 40% or something, or 37%. So, you know, generation renter. So if they're able to do stuff to their houses, there's all this stuff like peel off wallpaper and things like that. But so no, we're not going younger because the people that have the money are the older people and they can afford to do their houses up. More urban, really good space saving ideas, because everybody's always fascinated by storage and how they can make storage out of nothing. So that's the way we're going. Much more colourful, not country, not too big, because that's not who our readership is.
To be realistic. So what would you say there were some big no-nos for if anyone's sending a house in? Is there anything that you see it and go, because I remember for a long time, sorry, we're harping back to Woman and Home again, but just because that's my biggest experience of real homes. But Sue had a real thing about glass doors and like sliding doors.
Oh, yeah.
And then for a long time it was, I want a house with big sliding doors, and we found loads. And then all of a sudden it was, no, I don't want any. So then it was like, we can't feature any houses with sliding doors.
Until she had hers done. And then all of a sudden, they're back in again.
Okay. But it's like, is there anything that you...
Yeah, I mean, things like barns with lots of beams don't really work for us. And if the rooms are too big, because a lot of people live in tiny houses.
Especially if they're urban.
Especially if they're urban, exactly. They tend to be small. So no, if they're too big, then that won't work.
Yeah.
And if they're too, country and a bit kind of, you know...
Not twee.
So
do you like quite themed ones ever? Like if someone was really into Art Deco but put like a modern spin on it and things like that?
Yes, but it's
unusual.
Not too
odd.
Themed, I would say. Not too, like everything's, you know, they've got the dancing lady and the Tiffany lampshade. No, it's too...
It's not you.
No, it's got to be more of an eclectic mix, I think, really. As long as it just looks really... together, it's got to be, put together, or when it's shot, it looks like it's put together. Yeah, it's cohesive, exactly.
So if someone, I'm just thinking about some tips for anyone who might struggle with anything, or also because I think assistants listening, it's quite a good way to get into magazines is to put real homes or makeovers forward to magazines to be featured, and I just thought maybe we could give a few tips on how to deal with certain things with houses. So I was thinking of things like getting owners to relax when they have to have their headshots taken.
Yeah.
Because I have tricks, but then I'm quite comfortable acting really stupid behind the photographer, behind the camera. Because I was always told that if you want to look smile properly, you have to actually laugh for real, and then the photographer will snap
actually
you.
that works, because when I was at the Argos thing the other day, and I hate having my picture. Hate it.
Yours was the first picture I saw of the day.
Oh really? But honestly, I hate it. So anyway, the PR was behind me making a mad face, so she made me laugh. And thank God I put my chin up to get a double chin. But no, I find when I'm going to people's houses, I think a lot of people are still quite intimidated by the fact you're a magazine editor. And I'm sure I would have been. Yeah, it does sound scary. So I always go in, I'm very down to earth anyway, I just kind of ramp it up a bit, and I'm very friendly and casual, and I say, oh, how about this, or I've done this, I've done that, I don't mean I've done this, I'm amazing, what I mean is, oh, I've had that problem, my dog did that, or whatever. Just try and engage with them and just let them relax a little bit. Yeah, so take the photo of them as far towards the end when they're completely relaxed and know that we're not. I think sometimes people feel like, even when I do these podcasts, I think people are very nervous sometimes. Yeah. And they don't tell me till the end. And then you get that really weird fixed face, fixed grin. But I think it's that whole, well, I'm being recorded and I feel like someone's going to try and catch me out, or I might say something I regret. And once they realise it's just us just sitting chatting, and that if they say something, I always start with, if you say anything you wish you hadn't said, I can take it out, just let me know, it's not a problem. And it's the same with these people who haven't experienced magazines coming in. And they do. And they think it's going to be really quick. They think, well, you just come around and take snapshots, you'll be done in an hour. It's like, no, it's an hour per shot. Yeah, and then you have to keep them on side when they're thinking, oh, I've had enough of this now, and I want to put the kids to bed, or well, not put the kids, you know what I mean? Yeah, they want to. I've got to pick the kids up from school. Yeah, I was going to say, pick them up. Yeah, and things like that. But what we do now as well is we don't do the whole. Well, at the moment, anyway, again, I say this may change, we don't do the whole smiling to camera thing. What we're doing now is we're having people in the room doing something relevant. I think that's much better. So you might be putting books on a shelf, or you might be, I don't know, looking at a magazine, or playing with the dog. Yeah, exactly. We've done a lot of that lately, playing with dogs. And it just means people don't have to, stare at the camera for pressured. God knows how many seconds, which seems like forever. But I mean, generally the photographers, you know this, if they're interiors photographers, they know how to get people to relax. And so that's the way we're doing it at the moment. I did a shoot with Ollie Gordon with kids, and they came at the end of the school day and they were tired, and he would stand behind the camera and wiggle his bum either side of the camera, really over exaggerating, going, this is great, and the kids giggled their heads off. So it might work with grown-ups, you never know. I might wiggle my bum next time I'm in that situation. I don't think anyone would laugh if I did that. And what about when homeowners you go into their house to do it and then they interfere with what you're doing? Oh, that would look really good if you did it over there. And do you have any? I think what I have done is I've said, okay, we'll try it that way, and we'll shoot it that way, and we'll shoot it my way. Or you say, we'll shoot it that way, wait till I've gone out the room, and you quickly set it up again. I have done that. That's what I have got into trouble about it. Yeah. And you just quickly set it up and say, shoot it, and just do it really quickly. Or the best thing is if you've got a stylist, like if I've been a stylist and the writer's there, the writer takes them off to do the interview, and you just crack on. Yeah. Although it can bite you in the backside, because I had one. With a lady who, she'll remain nameless, but I'll never feature her again. We did the whole shoot when I was at Woman and Home for Sue, and we got the shots done, and she said, no shots of the bedroom, no shots of the downstairs loo, which I found a bit weird, and we shot them because we needed extra shots, and she wanted to pull the feature the next day. So I was having kittens, and thank God the fantastic writer contacted her and said, you will never be featured in any of these magazines ever again if you don't agree to this, which was actually a bit of a fib, not quite a lot of a fib, but it worked, and we ran it, and we didn't show the bedroom. I mean, we're not going to piss people off, to part the expression, of course not, but you think, that's unreasonable. You can't have a house shoot without a bedroom. No, exactly. It's like we were saying at the beginning, people want to see the houses, they want to see all the rooms. But that's all down to preparation. That should have been ironed out beforehand. Yes. And then the other thing, actually, that same shoot, it was a Christmas house, and I'd got lots of red decorations because it fitted the look. And I turned up with my props, put them down, and the PR who was there, who I'd spoken to about all of this, said, oh, she hates red. And you think, you're telling me now? Yeah. Why didn't you tell me this 2 weeks ago? Did you have anything else in backup? No, I didn't. Because you were thinking it was going to be red. Yeah, and I was in my car. There's only so much stuff you can take in your car, and it was in Suffolk or somewhere, I don't know. Oh, it was a million miles away. So that was pretty awful. Are there things so I was going to say, are there things you do before you shoot a real home, but I think it's
You've kind of explained it. You just need to talk to them and know what you're doing in the
if you can go, if it's one that we're shooting ourselves, then I'd always go and recce it first.
Yeah.
And get to know the people and find out, because then you won't be...
You get a heads up on their kind of, their vibe.
Yeah, and you try and, butter them up then.
With makeovers, what's the criteria of them? I'm kind of thinking you're going to say similar sort of things. They need to be not too big and not too expensive.
And not too plain. I mean, the thing with bathrooms I find really dull, because a lot of them are, white and...
Bathrooms are hard because they're such... For them not to be expensive, they're really small rooms and they're really hard to shoot because they're so
really
tiny.
Yeah. Well, again, that's where the reverse comes in then, talking about houses being too big. Bathrooms need to be big-ish so you can get in and get enough shots out of it. Having said that, I did do a tiny one a few months ago, but it was really great because we could get like a main shot straight on, and we could get a shot of the bath to the right-hand side. But we want colour. So this whole hotel chic thing, I'm so over. Kind of granite, black and sandstone, limestone, and those kind of taupey looks. God, please, never any more of those.
Do you know what? I did my bathroom 4 or 5 years ago, and I had a tile, and it was like a marble tile, but it was very grey. And when they came, they were more brown. They were all different. I really hate it, and I'd love to rip the whole thing out, and it's that whole taupe feel.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I hate it.
So at the moment we tend to be going for kind of the Burton May look, if you know what I mean. So lots of really colourful pattern tiles. We seem to be getting a lot of those coming through, and they're great because they look nice, and anything interesting ideas. Just again, colour, and just be a bit quirky.
Yeah, things you haven't seen before.
Yeah. I've had a couple of stylists send their rooms in, and that's great because they've got lots of little storage ideas and kind of vintagey bits, and so that works really well. It's quirky, individual is what we're looking for, not the kind of hotel. Could be anywhere. Yeah. Throw money at it. We want something where someone's thought about it
and made it kind of develop over time
and show their personality. Yeah.
So you're looking for things at the moment?
I am. Well, having said that, I'm quite well stocked.
I was going to say, do you plan well in advance?
Well. Yes,
try to.
But of course, when we've had this change of editor, some of the houses that the previous editor had chosen were thrown out.
Yes.
So I've had to kind of rejig everything. So I'm okay for houses, although I have got a few gaps. I had a house.
But people will be listening to this in 5-6 months' time, so there'll still be a need.
Well, then by then I'll probably need a load more. I mean, but for example, there's one that was meant to be going into the February issue because we don't have a January issue. Really nice, got the mix well with the different houses, and right at the 11th hour, when the writer went to do the story, she said, right, you can't put in how much the house cost and how much we've spent on it, and you can't.
You have to have that.
We have to have that, and also we need an exterior. So I don't want to do the exterior because she was in the police, or somebody was in the police.
So
didn't want them to know where it was, and they both had ex-partners, so they didn't want them to know how much.
Complicated.
I know, and the poor writer, so we've had to kill it.
Yeah, so those are the things you need to iron out at the beginning. You need to know.
That's why you need a prep. The first meeting.
Do you send briefs out to people so they know all of that in advance?
I've got a brief. I mean, I inherited a brief when I came here from Karen Stylists, so I've kind of tweaked it. It's fairly straightforward, but it just says what we need.
Yeah, so and you don't have these surprises.
No, and people don't read it. I would say read the brief. Read the brief.
So, do you know, I've got all your details, so things like how to contact you. The only thing I haven't got is your email address.
Oh, right. Well, it's alison.davidson@hearst.co.uk.
Yeah, so if anyone's got any gorgeous makeovers or houses, send them in to you. Of course, I will put all this in the show notes. Yeah. I'm not going to keep you because we're in your lunch hour and I know you need to eat at some point.
Starving.
But I'm just going to say that you've got quite a lot going on. So you've got your Instagram, which is Alison Adding Style.
Yes.
And you've also got a blog, which is AlisonAddingStyle.com.
Yeah. Now the reason it's got that.
Wait, and there's more though. And then your portfolio, which is very, very impressive.
Well, it should be if I changed it a bit more often.
I was looking at it this morning going, God, I need to do something with mine. Your portfolio is your addingstyle.com. But I will put all of this in the show notes so people can find
what happened was, when I was freelancing, first time round, if you like, and websites were just kind of coming in, or maybe it was sometime during that period anyway. I was doing some makeovers actually with a guy down in Leatherhead, and he was in tech. He was really kind of, I don't know what you call it, IT. He was in IT. And he said, oh, if you like, I'll build a website for you. And I'm thinking, yes, you know. So he built it for me, and he came up with the name.
Yeah.
And then, of course, since then, I mean, I think it's rubbish, actually. But what's everyone said to me is longevity. So if you've got that name from years back, stick with it. So that's basically what I've done.
And it's all, you've got it, it's really hard to find, like a website and a blog and Instagram all having the same sort of
so
name.
many people have such great names, and I think, oh, I want that one, you know. But anyway, I'm not going to change it now.
Stick with it, it's all good. So last question, what's next?
Well, what's next? I don't know. I just hope they keep me, really. I mean, you know, we all know
they'll keep you.
You know, we all know the industry's in, you know.
Yes.
I don't want to say decline, because actually Hearst are very behind print, but we do have all these other things going on as well to kind of keep it.
I think that's the way forward, is to not just rely on the one thing, events and...
I mean, House Beautiful have all the licensing with people like DFS and Hillary's and Carpetright. That helps massively, and obviously the magazine props that up. Country Living have Country Living hotels. They've just opened 2 hotels.
Wow.
And they do the Country Living Fair. You know, I think publishing companies now have to branch out and do other things. So we're always being told to look for opportunities. So no, I just hope I can stay as long as possible.
Well, I think you're doing a very good job
in Leicester Square.
Well, thank you very much for your lunch hour.
Thank you. I'm going to have my biryani now. Yeah. Homemade, of course.
Oh, of course. Maybe I won't. Thank you very much, Alison.
That's all right. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You'll find all the links from today's episode in the show notes over on insidestylist.com/Alison. Until next time, bye for now.